Okay, so we are going to keep working on our funnel. However, I realized I did make a mistake with dimensions last time, so we're just going to back up a step or two and fix that real quick. So thankfully, whenever you group stuff together in TinkerCAD, you can also ungroup it and get your component parts back. So now we're back to cylinder, cone, cylinder. And I realized that I made this purple cone a little bit too tall. Right now it's 2.5 inches, and I want to make it 2 inches. Now I will say I noticed that if you change things in the workspace, it doesn't update the properties over here, and that seems like kind of a weird bug, but that's just something to be aware of. But anyway, I've made this the proper height. I'm now going to put my big cylinder down on top, and if we want, we can group these right back together, and we're where we started. So anyway, the next step on this is to make it hollow, because of course it's supposed to be a pot that holds dirt. So what we're going to have to do is make a hole that's basically the same shape of this, but just a little bit smaller. So essentially be cutting away the whole middle and just kind of leaving a shell around the outside. And the easiest way to do that is just to copy this shape, make it smaller, and then put it in the right spot. So I am going to copy and paste. Now I've got another one of these guys, and I'm gonna move that one out of the way and work on this one. Now to appropriately change everything, we're gonna want all of the 2 dimensions scaled down just by 1/8 of an inch on all the sides, which might sound a little bit confusing, but I'll show you what I mean there. First, I'm gonna split it apart. And then I'm gonna grab my big cylinder and just hold down the Alt button, grab this guy, and just bring it in a little bit. And I know that this is going to move in increments of 1/8 of an inch at a time because I told, or rather, the default is for it to snap at 1/8 of an inch. You can change this, of course, if you want, but 1/8 of an inch is going to work great for us, so I'll leave it. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Alt-click, make it a little smaller. Alt-click, make it a little smaller. Now, unfortunately, if we're going to be changing radii in here, we can't just do like the alt drag. Like if I do this, alt drag, alt drag, you'll notice it doesn't really align properly. So instead, we're going to Control Z to undo that and just change it in here. And now I already did the math. The new updated radius for the top should be 2.875. And now that fits wonderfully. And on the bottom, it should be 0.875, which is 7/8 of an inch for that radius. Okay, so now we've got the smaller version, and we are going to put it back together again as one shape. Now, one thing that I like to do when I'm working is, this is the smaller version. This is the hole. So I'm just going to color it bright red so there's no confusion about, which is the piece we want to keep and which one's supposed to be the hole. So now I'm going to drag this guy back over to the middle where it should be. And you can tell they're overlapping because there's this weird sort of glitched out thing happening. So now the last thing is, you'll notice that they're overlapping at the bottom too. So if I turn this red thing into a hole, it would just essentially be, a tube. And I don't want that. I want the bottom solid. So I'm going to grab the red one, and you know that the right one is selected because I could see, if I click the blue, it'll show me the color. If I click the red, show me the color. And I'm just going to move this up just by 1/8 of an inch so that the bottom's not clipping through anymore. So if we take this guy, turn it into a hole, and then I'm going to, I can either box select, or I can shift select, and we are going to group. And now our hole has been cut out of the funnel. So we're one step closer. Okay, so if we go back and look at what we got, we've got this sort of chimney groove and the holes punched in the bottom. Now, in order to make this chimney groove, we've got to start with the chimney, so we'll save that for later. For now, we're going to poke these little holes down here in the bottom. So I think we can skip a step or two and just start with a cylinder hole. But if I come down here and, I try to put my cylinder in the middle, I can't really conveniently work with it because it's inside the funnel, and it's just straight up annoying. So I can make the funnel invisible for now by clicking this little light bulb button. and it completely disappears, almost like you deleted it, but don't worry. All you have to do is click this light bulb button and it comes right back. So this is just making it invisible so it's not in my way, and I can work on circular holes. So I think we're just going to use this cylinder to poke a series of holes in the side, and we're going to make those holes by dragging be 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Now obviously we're not poking vertical holes, we're poking horizontal holes. So I'm going to rotate this by hovering my mouse up here and clicking this little squiggly arrow guy. Now you'll notice I can sort of, rotate by any number of degrees I want. But if I move my mouse inside this rotation ring, you'll notice this highlight changes and suddenly it will snap for me. And that's super useful because obviously I want it at perfect 90 degrees. And then I know that the bottom of that funnel is 2 inches. So we are just going to go ahead and kill 2 birds with 1 stone by making this guy, where is it? We're just going to go ahead and make this 4 inches long, because that way it will for sure be able to punch through both sides of that funnel. In fact, let's turn that back on. You can see pokes right through, no problem. And we'll just hide this guy again. So obviously we need more than 1 hole, or well, more than 2 holes. So I'm going to copy this guy. I could make it from scratch, but that takes a while. So I'm going to copy it. However, there's kind of a copying shortcut. If I hold down the Alt key before I click, when I click again, it will just sort of copy one as I rotate. It's not moving the original, it's making a new one and rotating it for me, which will save me a lot of clicking and time. So we do that again, Alt, and then click, and then rotate a little bit. And we're gonna go one more time, Alt, click, and inside here so it snaps, and rotate. And now we have got a set of 8 holes that can be punched out of the bottom. I'm gonna box select and group these guys. Now let's bring back our funnel. I'm going to click these. I'm gonna move them a little closer to the bottom, and then we're gonna use our Alt trick again. So if we Alt and move this up, instead of just moving the original one, it's gonna copy and move it up for us. And so let's take a look over here. We've got 3 rows of holes. So let's do that one more time. And then you'll notice these holes are sort of rotated and offset. So let's take this middle one here. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. Oh, there it is. We'll find the rotate button and then rotate it over on the snap. And then if we check one more time, it looks like there's a row of holes higher up. So let's go ahead and add those as well. So I'm going to use my Alt click trick to copy and just drag those up. So now we've got a lot of these sort of snowflake hole things. Let's go ahead, box select everything, and click group. And give it a second, and there we go. We have punched holes in our hollow funnel. So this part is ready to go. I think we can start working on the white pot.